In all honesty, I didn't know if I could go through another divorce. The first series of The Tale of a Disintegrating Marriage, written by the nonpareil of domestic deconstruction, Sharon Horgan, and starring Sarah Jessica Parker and Thomas Hayden Church as warring couple Francis and Robert Dufresne, was best watched through fingers and a Valium haze. The lightest relief from its painful disentanglement of one neurotic woman and one callous, caring, infuriating man was usually provided by a secondary character accidentally shooting at her own husband, but failing to make it a fatal shot. The finale featured Robert calling the cops on his wife after she took his verbal agreement about custody as binding and the kids to live with her. Last night's opening episode of the new season cheaply glossed over this profound betrayal and presents them at the moment of signing, after one final, across-the-board table fight about custody of the Eagles' albums, The Divorce Papers. In one of divorce's many light but careful touches, the lawyer's professional hostility drops as soon as the last signature is scrawled. They leave the room laughing, while the clients stare blankly across the ruins of the relationship. For that, however, things get just a little, lighter. There is room for the Dufresnes and the viewers to breathe. Rather than love, hope and optimism circling the drain, new beginnings are possible. Perhaps the new showrunner, Jenny Bix, has realized that we can bear even less reality than we used to, now that it presses in on us on all sides like never before every time we look at a screen or read a headline. Frances is feeling okay by day, or would if her teenage children didn't make the contempt for her quite so obvious whenever she tries to please them, but is an insomniac at night. Working her way through the parcel of passe GG books Robert has sent her, How to Cope with a Narcissist, 30-minute abs, the latter of which rather broke the suspension of disbelief, as Parker continues to look much as she did throughout Sex and the City, as if she is made of equal parts whalebone and cheetah sinew, does not help. Her friend, Dallas Molly Shannon, playing her as a naturalistic Karen Walker from Will. Robert is knocked back by an old friend when he attempts to get back into money management rather than property development, and at the end of the episode he's helping his house crew put up the drywall for $20 an hour. Still, the seeds for growth rather than dissolution are there and welcome. Hope must spring eternal, at least on telly. Amazing Hotels, Life Beyond the Lobby, BBC Two, is back for a second series of looking at amazing hotels and marveling at the frantic paddling beneath the tranquil surface that is required to keep lots of people fed and comfortable in one meticulously attuned place. Given the rapidly degenerating socio-cultural-geopolitical climate we find ourselves in, it feels even more fiddling while Rome burns than the first season did. But what, really, else are you going to do? This week, presenters Giles Coren and Monica Galetti marveled at the Brando, yes, named after Marlon, a noted if not unproblematic fan of the Polynesian people who bought the island of Tetiaroa for £200,000 back in the day and established a hostelry designed to preserve the area and its traditions and remind the Tahitians of what they are and what they were centuries ago. This white savior complex has over the years given rise to one comprising 35 lavishly appointed yet eco-friendly villas ringed by coral reef and blue lagoon and beloved of the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio and Barack Obama for its very great distance beyond even the longest paparazzo lens. It was an amazing hotel, for sure. You really did get some nicely folded and sustainably laundered towels for £11,000 a night, but we didn't see much of the life beyond the lobby, beyond exactly what the hotel wanted us to see. Employees spoke glowingly of its green credentials, managers held kindly pep talks before shifts, and everyone remained graciously discreet about the clientele. But even within the limits of its format, I am aware it is not a panorama investigation. You did want to see how the quarters where the cleaners lived measured up, and hear more from the housekeeper who, until Monica took her down there, had never paddled on the hotel's beach. I suspect it would remind the local people what they are now compared with what they were centuries ago.